Hey everybody, it's Sid back again with Ransyd Gaming. I just got back from my second pre-release. It's Saturday night. I wanted to go over the cards I opened, the deck I built, the success I had with it, how I went about kind of making it based on the cards that came to me. I know we're just getting ready to wrap up, only one more day of pre-release weekend left, but I know some people will still be playing throughout this week as we get ready for launch day. Had a great time at Game Ogre down here in Southern California. The store ran a perfect event. We had close to 30 people. I'm not sure on the total count. I think it was a 32 max, and we may have hit 32. Some people left after the first and second round, so I didn't get a full count of how many there were. But it was an absolute full house. I think we hit the full 32. And it was just a great energy, a great vibe there at the store. They sold out of Gamegenic supplies. I was hoping to grab a playmat, but I was a little too late getting in line. But had a great time, did well. So I want to share a little bit about that experience with you. And I got some prize support in the form of packs for participating. And so I think we'll finish today's video by cracking some packs and seeing what else we get. All right, well, without further ado, let's get after it. All right, everybody, here we are. This is our setup for our second pre-release of the pre-release weekend for Star Wars Unlimited. Over here, we've got all of the commons we unpacked. We have all the uncommons we unpacked. We don't need to go through those. I'll talk a little bit about how they definitely influenced my decision on which direction my deck should go. Here's our leaders. I think we had all the same leaders. I don't know if I got a Jin in the first pre-release last night. I'd have to go back and check. I definitely didn't play Jin, but I don't remember if I got one or not. Really stoked about these two leaders right here. We get a hyperspace Leia and we get a hyperspace rare Palpatine. You know, I don't expect to ever open a showcase, so it's a nice little consolation prize to get one of these hyperspace leaders. I'm glad that we do have a variant for those of us who maybe are never going to get the showcase. It's nice to get some special right there. Only other rare, besides Palpatine, that I did not end up playing in my deck was the Emperor's Legion. And of course, we did get one legendary here in Home 1. Let's bring Home 1 up a little bit so you can get a good look. Such a cool card. I really tried to make both Home 1 and Emperor Palpatine work in my deck. Or build a deck around them. Just couldn't make it happen. Didn't have enough good green cards in either hero or villain that I could go that direction. Some nice foils here. We also did get a really cool Crafty Smuggler in hyperspace. And I have to say, I wanted to show this because I think it's an example of a card that I think looks a lot better in hyperspace than in foil. Foil often darkens the cards and takes away some of the contrast, and there's such cool contrast here with that beam of light kind of highlighting the Crafty Smuggler, the blaster fire coming out of that blaster. It's just a really great card that's full bleed to the edges because you get that detail all the way to the edges. It's super dynamic, lots of contrast. I think I prefer hyperspace over foil in a lot of cases. To argue the other side, the foil, it's kind of hard to tell on the camera with this light, but the metal on the Star Viper all like really pops with the foil. So for that card, I think I do prefer the foil. But for the Crafty Smuggler, I'm stoked we got that. A little shout out to Game Ogre in Southern California. They gave every participant when they signed in today for the pre-release the choice of, as a participation prize, a Gamegenic initiative token or one of those Gamegenic token boxes. So I took the initiative token because I felt like that was an immediate upgrade off of the little cardboard one that we get in the pre-release. So really happy about that. Thank you, Game Ogre, for giving that. These are the packs I got for winning the games that I did during the pre-release. We're going to save those for last. But I think it's time to look at our deck and why we chose to go with Lord Vader, or Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. Now we went with Vader Blue. The reason for that was I found a lot of good support cards, a few big units in blue that really helped what we were trying to do, and I found some good removal events out of blue. We definitely didn't have all the blue cards I would have liked to see, but we had enough I think, to make a removal style deck work. Vader likes removal if you've got the right events and the right characters to go with him. And I think we had the right ones, and we had some good success. So let's put those right there. And let's check out the deck. Whenever you're playing Vader, you always hope you get some Death Star Stormtroopers. They're great opening plays along with TIE Fighters. It gets you that unit turn 1. It gets you Vader's ability turn 1. And you're kind of off to the races. So we did get a couple of Stormtroopers. Really happy about that. Admiral Ozzel is a great card. A little bit weak. Easy for an opponent to take off the board if they're worried about him. I only got his ability a couple of times. I have a little bit more success with someone like Piet, just because he has a little bit more health. The Jedha Agitator, Inferno 4 in hyperspace, pretty nice, and a second Inferno 4 in foil. This is a tough one to say which one looks better. I love the full art, but Inferno 4 just kind of pops with that hyperspace, like the kind of purple pink of the dark space behind it. Just really, really looks cool. Getting 2 Inferno 4s was a big reason for me going blue. I think it's a great space unit. The ability is really, really nice. One game I did get both the when played, when defeated, and when played, when defeated on both Inferno 4s, and it really helped me get what I needed in that game. Guardian of the Wills is in there for a very specific reason. You'll see a little later. Scout Bike Pursuers, I think, are really good out of Vader if you're going to go blue. Their grit means in a pinch, you can use Vader. You can use either side of his ability to pump up these Bike Pursuers. And if you don't have, say, something in ground to hit, you can use Vader's ability, pump up the Bike Pursuer, hit their base, and then hit their base with the Bike Pursuer and do more damage because of that grit. So I think it works well with Vader. Even if it maybe works a little bit better out of Krennic, Vader has a use with him. So we got a couple of those. Some probe droids, those are just good with Vader because they're going to allow you to see the opponent's deck and they're going to allow you to get that Vader ping. Partisan, Insurgent, Sympathizer, and the 2 Siege Tanks just kind of rounded out our events, or I'm sorry, our units. One problem I noticed in this deck is I didn't really have a good fill from these 2, 3, 5 cost units to then my 2 AT suppressors, which I was really excited to get because I wanted some big units at the back end, right? But we were kind of jumping from 5 to 8. So I cheekily, since we got one, a nice rare Rook, he basically fits in at a 7 cost slot, right? So my ramp evens out. I think he's a really, really powerful character. I did get him to work with Admiral Ozzel one turn, just kind of perfectly. The opponent was able to stand a character, but Rook just went into him with his shield and was able to assassinate him. So kind of working as intended. I liked having Rook so that I had something in that space there. But I will say overall, if the deck has a weakness, it's that mid to mid plus range of units. Just didn't have the support for it. The problem is I didn't really have the support for it in any of my colors. These AT suppressors were my only real big units of all the cards I opened, which was kind of surprising even out of green, right? So I felt like I had to go blue for the big units, for the good little units, and then we just kind of had to fill in what we could in that middle range. If the deck struggled, it was in that space right before you get Vader out. Once we got Vader out and we found like an AT suppressor, we were rolling, but that turn or two before Vader comes out on 7 is rough. Here's our removal, which I was really, really excited to get. We got 2 Vanquishes. We got 2 Maximum Fire Powers. We've got a Hyperspace Open Fire, a Foil Open Fire. Well, we're getting a lot of opportunities to compare which one we like better here. The Foil looks good, but I think the Hyperspace looks just a little bit better. I mean, just look at like the little blaster fire there compared to that one there. A lot more dynamic when it goes all the way to the edge. Sorry, I'm turning my head and speaking, and the audio is probably terrible. We get a Force Throw. Now, you already saw one Force unit in our Guardian of the Wills, and of course we have Darth Vader. Don't worry, there's going to be one more coming. So with 3 Force units, including our leader, I felt like including a Force Throw was worth it. I think it's also good hand control plus a little spot damage. Really fun card to play. We got a second one, so I was like, okay, well, we got to play Vader with Force Throw, right? He's in the art. Hyper Foil, doesn't that look great? It really, really does. I love the way the Hyper art around the edges is kind of a blasting out, or maybe it's a tunneling in, depending on how your perspective works. But I think it really fits with this like debris all blasting away from Darth Vader. And we got a Force Choke. That is a foil Force Choke, kind of hard to tell. They're really excited to get that. So with 2 open fires, 2 Force Throws, and a Force Choke, felt like it was a Vader deck, right? Here's some of the rares that we also pulled that got into the deck. An Electro Staff. Good card. I think I had it on a scout bike at one point, and it was actually doing some really good work there. Regional Governor, tough card to draw. I mean, I played it because it was in color, because it's a rare, and because it's not a bad card. I don't think I ever successfully named the card that my opponent then happened to be holding in hand, and was unable to play. She's great in Constructed, not so great in Limited, but you know what? You go for those guessing games, right? And then we got a 7 Sister. So this was the one character besides those tanks that kind of fit into that 5 range. We didn't have any 6-cost characters, which hurt a little bit. We just kind of had to play multiple small characters in those spots. But that can be a little rough on your hand when you're dumping out a lot of units that don't stick around very long. 7 Sister is fantastic, though. She's another Force user to make the Force throws better. Her ability is amazing. She is really one of my favorite characters in Star Wars Unlimited right now. I'm never sad to see her. So we got some really good rares here. We were able to use most of them. I think last night's pre-release, we just weren't able to use most of our rares. I think we only used like 2, and here we only left out 2. So it really was, I think, a more efficiently built deck based on the cards we got. The deck didn't quite build itself, but it really lent itself to the cards we pulled, and we did really well. So in round 1, we played against a Boba Fett. Now, last night's pre-release, the store ran 3 rounds, and we did a best of 1. I think they were 30 to 35-minute rounds. I think the idea was there that most people were really new to the game and might need more than the typical amount of time. Like in a best of 3 55-minute round, time can go pretty fast when you're still learning the game. So that's how they did it last night. They did a best of 1, 3 rounds. Today we did, it was a best of 1, 4 rounds last night. Today we did the more standard tournament structure. So we did a best 2 of 3 55-minute rounds. My first game was against Boba Fett. I went 2-0 in that one. Darth Vader and all the removal was just really well suited to deal with Boba Fett. My opponent was a new player. I think he kind of delayed 1 extra turn on getting Boba out in the first game, and then delayed even longer in the second game. I thought he was trying to bait my Vader maybe, but I think he was just a new player. But we had a lot of fun. It was a really good game. I think he learned a lot, and it was fun to play with some of these new cards. My second game was against a Leia player who actually did find a lot of rebels. Like, they triggered Leia in non-unit form, just leader form, and in unit form multiple times. Really was very efficient with it. I think got the most they could out of her. But Vader was just able to hold things off with all that removal. Could take out the big units with vanquishes and with the open fires, and then could usually take out Leia. Like Leia, what's great about a card like Force Choke is you can just Force Choke, and then since it's a villain card, you can Vader's ability, and there goes Leia, right? And all you had to do was spend 3 resources and give the opponent a card. I'll trade 3 resources and a card to the opponent to take their leader out. So that was a really big combo actually all day, was being able to use Force Choke into Vader's ability to do like 6 damage to something in 2 moves. Really strong. So I won 2-0 in that game against Leia. Very skilled player who, for a new player still, like knew how to run a deck. I think they were a little frustrated at just how many of my removal events I was seeing. And it wasn't that I was getting super lucky draws. As you saw, I just have a ton of them in this deck, right? I think 7, 8 removal cards, nearly a third of the deck, right? Just shy of a third of the deck were like removal events, because I wanted to play them. Why not, right? And then my third game, because I went 2-0, 2-0, in my third matchup, I was against the next, like, it was just 1 and 2. I'm not sure if I was 1 and he was 2, or he was 1 and I was 2. It doesn't matter. We were at table 1, the only other like 2-0, 2-0 player, and he was also playing Vader, and he was playing Vader green, and he had the ramp. And so in both of our games, I lost 0-2. They were very close games. could have turned at any point, but in both games he got his ramp. I never saw any ramp cards, so I couldn't really go green. Didn't make sense to me with all the removal that I got with the support removal I got out of blue. And in both games, he was able to get that ramp going, get the early Vader, and just get that foothold. It was tough to deal with Vader once he got that lead, because then by the time I'm getting Vader out, he's getting a ton of support stuff out there. And yeah, anybody who knows, when you're playing against Vader, if he comes out early and you're coming out late, it's rough. But they were good games. Shout out to my opponent, Matt. He did really well and got the most packs. So it was 1 pack per match win, plus 1 more for participation. So I went 2-0, 2-0, and then got 1 for participation. The winner, or the person who went 3-0, he got 4 packs. So I'm really happy to get 3 packs. Got there to the final table with this deck. Really, really strong deck. I think, I was talking to someone else who's going to a pre-release tomorrow. We were discussing just how strong Vader is. I think Vader in the pre-release format is incredibly, incredibly strong. You want to get some support pieces for him. You want to get some cheap units. Hopefully you find some mid-range units. You get that removal. But he's really good out of blue. He's really good out of green. I don't know if you really want to play him out of something like yellow. Probably can't. But out of green and out of blue, there's a lot of good cards. If you see an overwhelming barrage, you're almost set. The thing about Grand Moff Tarkin is you really want to see a lot of Imperials. He doesn't have a huge impact. It's great to pass out all those experience tokens, but there's nothing like hitting the base for 5 and just pinging units with Vader. He gets very, very strong very, very quickly. He's really strong. I don't think you have the default to Vader, but I think in Limited, he is probably in the top tier. Boba's great, but you just don't often find enough cards. Like, if you find the Fire Spray, and you find Bosk, and you find, maybe like a couple of shoot firsts and some surprise attacks, yeah, you can make Boba work, I think. But I think you need more support pieces. And Vader just has a wider range of pieces that'll work well with him. There's so much removal in the game right now. That Vader's a strong choice. I really wanted to make Palpatine work, but I just didn't get enough good green. Like, I couldn't run Vader green. No ramp. No really good cards. Like Emperor's Legion, not really doing it for me. I had the only starships were like Consortium Star Viper and the little patrolling V-wing. Like, I was gonna get knocked out of space. Notice in this deck, I only had my only space units were my 2 TIE fighters. It was a little bit of a risk, but actually, space didn't really ever come back to bite me. Most people were not putting space cards in their deck. So I actually got a lot of free damage there in space just with those little TIE fighters. Shout out to them because they're great. All right, well, without further ado, what do you think? I think we should open some packs, yeah? So here we go. This is going to be the fun part. Let's start with a Grand Moff Tarkin pack. We'll go Chewie, and we'll finish with Moff. So let's see what we get. I'm excited. I'm hoping something good. We opened 12 packs total in pre-release, and we got 2 prize support packs for winning 2 games last night. So that's a total of 14 packs. We have opened 4 legendaries out of those 14 packs. So we're right now like way above pull rate on legendaries. 4 out of 14 is very, very good. So if we get no legendaries here, I won't be upset because we're already well past our quota. So let's toss this and let's see what we got first. All right, so we get another Jyn Erso. All right, I was hoping for maybe a hyperspace or something, but you know what? We get what we get, and we don't get upset. We've already had a lot of luck this pre-release weekend. Mercenary Company, Restored Arc, Infiltrator Skill, Battlefield Marine is a great card. Rebel Pathfinder. Making openings. I haven't seen many of these in pre-release weekend. At least it wasn't really played on me, and I didn't draw any. I would have liked to play it. I like that card. Volunteer Soldier, Outer Rim Headhunter. There's a Probe Droid. This is a card I really would have liked to have for today's deck. That's one of my absolute favorite cards. This is the first one I've seen out of, I guess this will be pack 15 for the weekend. This is the first Power of the Dark Side I've seen. Really happy there. That's a Greedo. I really like Greedo. The art is so good with those big old goober fingers. We get a Rebel Assault. We've seen a couple of those. We got to be getting close to a playset. And our rare General Krell. Well, I'm happy that I have him, but I'm also happy I didn't actually draw him out of a pack during the pre-release, because those double aspect units are really hard to play. They're just really, really hard to play. Very cool card. Someday he'll be in a deck, but not yet. Put him down here with my other rare. And then we get a foil Star Wing Scout. Just an uncommon, but I like that we get an uncommon there. All right, let's go to Chewie. I do love these paper packs. They have a nice feel to them. 16 cards makes for a pretty heavy pack too, and I like that heavy feel of the packs. Right, there's always that moment, right, where you're just like, okay, flip it. What if it's a showcase? All right, we got a regular Chewie. Hey, look at that. We get a hyperspace chopper base. Love that. I think that's our second hyperspace chopper base, actually. Strike True. My opponent in the final game today had multiple Strike Trues in his Vader Green. Really, really effective card when you get into the mid and late game, because you're doing a lot of damage off those units. System Patrol Craft, good card. All right, we need some more of these. I don't think I got many of them, actually. Wilderness Fighter, Open Fire, MVP card. Such a good card. This card right here is really good. If you get multiple of these, you might just want to run red. It's a great removal card. Surprise Strike is really good. Rogue Operative. There we go. We get a little Hyperspace Frontier ATRT solid card in limited. We get to our uncommons. We've got a Zeb. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I see some goodness right there. We get a General Veers. Now remember, the third uncommon slot is that special. If you do find a hyperspace in it, it can be, I think, of any rarity. We just get a uncommon hyperspace Baze Malbus. So it is an uncommon hyperspace, but what's cool about that third slot is it can be any rarity. I was kind of hoping we'd get something a little more rare, but that's okay. So we take Baze. We get a Bombing Run. All right, I'm really excited about Bombing Run. My opponent also had Bombing Run. He wasn't able to play it in our last two games of the day. But I really like this card. The fact that it is asymmetrical, that you can hit one arena or the other, means you can plan for it. You know, Super Laser Blast is just all about destroying everything. Bombing Run is a little more tactical, a little more targeted. I like that card a lot. We're going to find a way to use it. And then we get, again, speak of Strike True, we get a cool foil Strike True. Now see that? I don't want to dig out the other one. Well, maybe we can dig it out. That kind of pops maybe a little bit more. Something about that foil. It's the dark outline around his hair. Maybe it's the lightsaber. I don't know. That foil kind of pops for me. I don't know what it is. Huh. All right. Let's do our last pack. So far, nothing amazing, nothing incredible. Some cool hyperspace cards. Let's see. Last one. Big money, no whammy. Oops. We're having a hard time opening this one. There we go. All right. Oh, I messed it up. I was already there. Well, it's not a showcase, but it is a Sabine, and we have not pulled a Sabine yet. And even though it's a common leader, we did not see a Sabine last night, so I'm really happy. She's helping me complete my leader collection one step closer. Let's go Sabine. I think we still need Iden, and I don't know if no, I think we got an IG. So we've got Emperor Palpatine rare leader. We don't have Cassian. We don't have Iden. We got Han Solo last night. So no Cassian, no Iden. I'm not sure who else we're missing. Maybe nobody else. I gotta think about it. Echo Base. I guess these are the Strike True days. There you go, Strike True. Surgical Droid. Metal Ceremony. Interceptor's a really good card. Would have liked to get that into my Vader deck today. Get a little more space presence. System Patrol Craft. Jawa Scavenger. We get a maximum firepower. disarm. Here come the uncommons. Let's go. Force choke. I know that we get them in the starter, but it's a really good card. I think it's a card you're going to want plenty of copies of. We get a tie advance, another good uncommon. Here's that special uncommon slot. It is a hyperspace. Unfortunately, it is an uncommon hyperspace. You can get that extra rarity, like I said, but I was just talking about Admiral Piet, how I prefer him over Ozzel, and there he is in hyperspace format on the bridge, looking good. Let's go. All right, now we have our rare. Here we go. Big money, big money. We get a fallen lightsaber. I like that. This is the first lightsaber I've pulled out of any of these packs from pre-release weekend. Never saw a Jedi lightsaber, so really stoked to see the fallen lightsaber. I think as more Force users come out, it's going to get better and better. I think you have a lot of options. Like even out of a limited deck, I was able to have a Force leader and 2 Force users, one cheap, one middle cost. I think as we get more units, fallen lightsaber is just going to become more popular. I think it's a really, really cool card. You have to be careful though. On a lot of those red cards that like the keep fighting, you want to keep it at that nice 3 power, and it does bust you up way past it. I mean, obviously you want to see it on something like Vader. Our last card is a foil. Hey, we get an uncommon foil in Bib Fortuna. I love it. All right, so pretty good packs there. Nothing super special, but like I said, we can't complain. We had a great weekend. We are not going to be playing in one tomorrow. We're going to take tomorrow off, but we'll bring out some of the MVPs here. So that's, what were we at? 6, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17 total packs we opened on pre-release weekend. We got these 4 legendaries, including our hyper space foil version of Mace Windu. So these 4 cards alone out of 17 packs, that's some pretty fantastic odds, right? You're supposed to get around 2 legendaries for every 16 packs, and in 17 packs we got 4. That's a great pull rate. I was hoping for one more to just really crush the math, but I'm really happy with what we got between yesterday and today. And going forward, we've got a really nice little foothold on a collection. I actually got more playsets of cards than I expected. I think that's bound to happen with these commons and uncommons. But I actually got more rares than you're supposed to get, and I definitely got more legendaries than you're supposed to get. So it feels like a really good start. I can't wait to get my boxes next week. I think what we'll do is we'll organize all these cards from these 17 packs we got this weekend. We're going to start putting them into our spreadsheets. We're going to start building our collection. We're going to start checking off what we have. We're going to start looking for what we need. And I think our next video will be kind of a kickoff to the collection video before we get our new cards here on Friday, right? Of the real release, the full release of the game. So before we're like opening boxes, which we're going to do soon, I want to get all of these organized, show you my system for tracking our collection. Because remember, we are looking to build a play set at the most economical price point possible. If that means selling cards, we'll see. I haven't really examined selling cards. I didn't expect that we would want to or need to, but it may be if we can parlay Mace into a big pile of cards that we just have to do it. These 3 are definitely staying because they're just regular, but Mace is a nice bargaining chip. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all had a great time this weekend. If you still have games to play tomorrow on Sunday, good luck. May the Force be with you. Get those great pulls, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.